Our second reader has taught writing, literature, and literary translation at Vermont College of Fine Arts and at Columbia College, Chicago. He is the author of Next Extinct Mammal and Exiled from the Throne of Night, selected translations of Luis Cernuda, excuse me. His writing and digital media have been featured at the Art Institute of Chicago, the Poetry Foundation, Oxford American, Plowshares, Triquarterly, the American Poetry Review, and elsewhere. Please welcome Ruben Quesada.
Thanks for having me. I'm going to read from my current manuscript, which will be out as a chapbook this fall. The first poem has a title, and the subsequent poems are just numbered. Angels in the Sun. Excuse me. Angels in the Sun, after Turner. I would have waited alone 1,000 years for the coming of angels, blinding bright as the spring sun to arrive, to abandon this world for another, stunned by their flashing lights aflame across the bow of their spacecraft, landing lights for that world, herds of animals, horses, humans, and fish fixed. The angels approached. Come angels, come beasts, men and women cried out to each other. The angels cried. Some were lost between their earthly life and paradise, and what is paradise anyway? Few imagined being bound to this world, blue halo of emerald mountains, extraordinary, ordinary, they rose, a crucifixion yardarm flying away. 1. Christ was never more than a man nailed to a cross, but from him I learned that an entire life fits into a person's palm like a book of poems. Like an executioner's hammer, now at 35, I have learned confession won't save me. I'm reminded of a fortune teller I met 2 years ago in San Francisco at Dolores Park on a radiant late afternoon. As the sun slanted across bodies of slack-line-wrapped palm trees, I too must have been radiant, having just listened to a poetry reading by Guillermo Gomez Peña in the Mission. From the shade, a woman came in a green scarf. She pulled me toward her, held my hand, making it float face up into the pool of air between us. Her finger tracing my palm into creases of 7s or L's. She began to sketch a future I once wanted, a life of fortune and fame, into neat curves from thumb to wrist. Then my hand dropped. Her scarf drifted into the trees. She coughed, the barrels of her lungs exhausted. She looked away, wiping her mouth, and said, "Last night it was quiet. As your mother died, a haze of zinnias hushed in the rain." 2. And an angel appeared and said, "Come with me to this place, to bend and smell the stone roses slowly budding below the window sill. How it lingers, this sweet coral honeysuckle sap of earth. But what's best is on warm, windy days, when the smell of Antilles lilies or petrichor washes over me like sea foam at my feet. I lie and close my eyes as donkeys pass in the caramel sunlit marsh. Beyond the amplitude of my outstretched knees, in the marsh marigold glaze, I imagine a future where clouds fall from the sky in the shape of seaside olive trees. Listen, children, gaze into my eyes, gaze into these honey-colored creatures. Listen to oxen file forward into the horizon as each coarse head of the field whips and pivots like the loose neck of a goose. This is how the dream begins. I am standing on our lawn and I watch her, a girl in a black dress at the corner to cross the street, My eyes blur as tires and birds dart into trees. Then cars begin to lose their slack, and I see her body flail. My mother appears in a crowd of children. They stand tightly tucked up close to see the girl. It is Mary. And there is my mother back from work, where she is part of an assembly line, sorting letters to places she'll never know. Mary's face is as pale as the color of skim milk, her dress gone to asphalt. Her eyes roll as she falls into my mother's arms. Soon her mother will be found in their garage, the car running. I am 7. Our class attends her funeral. In this blood that haunts my skin, in the folds of my brain are burrowed the harrowed words to describe you. Bleak, damned. And when the universe was young, it possessed the means to give you breath. To deliver you to me here, half alive, propped against the wall in the corner of your room, your straw-colored hair padding your chest, knuckles, and toes. This was our last day together. You'd stumbled onto the drawn curtain as we watched ghostly orbs carry in the laughter of the neighbor's dog. Outside, children passed as an ice cream truck's siren song shook you back to life from the ghost of heroin. Photographs browned like honey from years of smoke covered the walls, and I watched you from your bed, where so many worlds undressed beneath the sap-like weight of phosphorus. O bromine, xenon, O astatine, tellurium, what more could the periodic table offer? Already you were nitrogen, sulfur, even gold. In early August, my shirt is always wet from the heat, and summers simmer in silver patches of rain. As I board the outbound express, my morning shift has just ended. Through the glass, the sun needles at my neck as the car rails into a turn and dives down into a tunnel buried deep like the dead toward home, where no one will expect me. I remember that afternoon 10 years ago when you returned from work and found me gone. I don't even know if you're still alive, and I don't care. I remember that summer in Dallas when we met. I smoked a pack of Camel cigarettes a day and drank iced tea by the pool, staring at the bald cypress trees that sagged around us. One day, to surprise you, I took the day off. I did the laundry, found a syringe and tourniquet. Now, as I arrive at my stop, the sun has gone. At home, the walls keep time. The clock dings, it's 8:30. The treetops begin to darken. I sit at my desk, take a rosary of metal from the drawer. I cradle the barrel like a clarinet against my mouth. The quick rhythm of the second hand clicks, and already the jacarandas have started to push their tongues against the window. Last night, as we lay in bed, we talked about one-night stands. You told me about the time in Salt Lake City when you went away to college, when you spent a night in a sling high on heroin with a line of married Mormon men waiting their turn to be inside you. The smell of the fireplace filling your nose is what you remembered most. Beyond the windows, mountains blanched with snow. And this morning, before you awoke, I kissed your half-open mouth. I watched the blackening snow bank along the curb as people slushed along the sidewalk. Above us, a hunk of clouds formed, grackles crackled above a church lot. Nothing more was said. As a boy, I was unbearably uncomfortable about my body. And the men my mother dated gave me erections in the bathroom as I thought of them under the hiss of the shower to drown out the catcalls from boys at school who threatened to kill me every afternoon. And I have tried to avoid blaming myself for being called a faggot for most of my life. I could not escape it. But those days have gone, like the gospel of Anita Bryant who wanted to drown out a faggot rebellion, like that one at Stonewall. Once I was a man who curated mediocrity, like the time I misspelled peniophobia, so as to conceal my fear of having spent my life penniless, undressing only in the dark. Thank you.